Participation in online collaborative sites is decreasing. So Matt Acey recently wrote an article about how there are fewer people asking questions on Stack Overflow. If you look at December 2023 to December 2024, the number of questions that were asked dropped by 40%. So since ChatGPT has been released, he pointed out in 2023, there's been this dramatic decline of number of questions asked on Stack Overflow. I would point out that the number of questions asked on Stack Overflow has been dropping since 2018, as you can see in the graph. So perhaps there's something else also going on. In the comments to this article, somebody wrote that Wikipedia was also seeing a drastic drop in the number of people reading articles on Wikipedia. And they proved this by showing a graph that showed that a larger percentage of internet users were using ChatGPT than using Wikipedia. So that assumes more people are going to ChatGPT to get an answer than are looking it up on Wikipedia. So I was curious if this meant less people were contributing to these tools. Like if less people are asking questions or looking for answers there, does that mean contribution goes down? So starting with Stack Overflow, I don't have numbers, but I think you could probably make a reasonable argument that that would be true because of Stack Overflow's model. Stack Overflow, you ask a question and people answered. And so if you have fewer questions, you probably have fewer questions, you probably have fewer answers. If you look at Wikipedia, I think it's a little more complicated than that because of the way that Wikipedia rewards contributions. So I actually went to Wikipedia's site, to their metrics, and this is the percentage of users contributing to Wikipedia. And as you can see, the growth rate has been flat for the last couple of years, which is interesting, but it hasn't dropped off like we saw in Stack Overflow. And it's been flat since like 2018 again. So it seems like there's something else other than just AI going on there. But at least the fewer people reading Wikipedia has not caused fewer contributions to Wikipedia, although maybe stalled the growth rate. It's unclear from this graph, unclear from the data that I have. But I think it's because Wikipedia's model is very different. Wikipedia doesn't publish how many people read your answer, doesn't reward you in numbers like a Stack Overflow or a YouTube does. Instead, Wikipedia's contributors are probably more motivated by seeing articles complete or how many articles they wrote or the community that they're participating or the community of contributors that they have. So it seems like a drop in number of people reading the article would have a less direct impact on people contributing to the article. Now, Wikipedia did go through an effort recently to move from getting most of their financial contributions from companies to getting most of their financial contributions from readers. And so ultimately, if there were less readers, you could imagine that the Wikimedia Foundation would be affected and that would affect contributors eventually. I don't know. Now, does the Stack Overflow and Wikipedia, if they're accurate, this decline in people asking questions and in reading articles, does that relate to open source software? So in the open source software world, I thought this would relate to people using the software. So I thought what we would want to look at is the number of people downloading packages, like software ready to consume. So I went to NPM, a package manager, and I looked at the statistics for the top projects on NPM, and it looks like there is not a dramatic decline in the number of people downloading packages from NPM. You could argue that the number of users of open source software, the number of people that download the software to use, would fall much later after people had stopped contributing, because the software is still very useful as it is. And so if people stopped contributing to open source software, there might be some kind of delay. And so maybe a better intermediate metric would be how many views of the code we had, how many people went and looked at the code to learn from it. Like, did they learn from like a Copilot or a ChatGPT or a Claude instead of going to the code to look at it? We don't have really good data on the number of views of open source software. We have statistics like stars that we can see if people liked it or not. So I'm curious, do you believe the Stack Overflow Wikipedia story that there are less users and readers of their data? And does that mean eventually there'll be less contributors? And if so, would that in some level infer the future of open source software? And if so, which metrics would you use to figure it out? Let's start a conversation. Drop a note in the comments.